Okay class, today we're going to look at some of the basic materials that we use in the workshop. We're going to cover the woods first of all. Now they come in two main types. We have softwoods and we have hardwoods, and we'll split them up into two different sections, okay? So that's what we're going to look at first and foremost. We're going to start looking at some of the softwoods. First wood we're going to look at is white pine. Now you'll see this a lot used in decking, used in fencing, used in construction work, so roof timbers, etc., things like that. It's a cheap wood, fairly strong, but full of knots as well, so it has its problems with knots, but it's not a bad wood and quite cheap. Now the next wood we're going to look at is the one we actually use in the workshop. This is red pine. So it's still quite cheap, but it's a wee bit more expensive than white pine. Now it doesn't have so many knots in it, so it's a much easier wood to use. Okay, so that's red pine. The next material we're going to look at is cedar. Now cedar's a good material for working with outside. It's good for furniture and for thin veneers. Now most of the pencils in the world are also made of cedar as well. So it's good because it has no knots. It's quite a strong wood, and as I say, it lasts well outside. Next softwood we're going to look at is European larch. Again, this is a nice straight grained wood. It doesn't have a lot of knots in it. It's very good for using outside. You'll find a lot of fence panels are made of this material. It's good for flooring. It's fairly heavy, but it's quite easy to work. It's actually a very nice wood to work with. So that's European larch. Now the first hardwood that we're going to look at is ash. Now ash is a nice pale brown looking wood. Doesn't have any real knots. Comes from all over Europe. It's quite expensive but very strong, and it's also a type of, it's kind of an elastic wood, so it's used a lot for hammer handles, things like that, where there's a wee bit of flexibility involved. Lovely wood to work with overall. So the next hardwood we're going to look at is oak. I think you're all familiar with oak trees with wee acorns, etc. Now oak is a very strong, very expensive wood. It's used a lot where it's heavy timbers for long lasting. Lasts well outside, so you can use it for benches and gates and things like that. But it's a beautiful wood to use for furniture and flooring. So that's oak. Another hardwood we use very commonly in the workshop is beech. If you look at your bench, if you look at the tool handles, the saw board, these are all made of beech. Now beech is a beautiful hardwood to use inside. It doesn't last outside at all. So you'll see it in kitchen cabinets, you'll see it in flooring, and you'll see it in furniture, but you won't ever find it anything that's made to last outside. The last material we're going to look at today is mahogany and marante. Now mahogany and marante are a very expensive wood. They're used a lot for furniture, but these are the trees, when you hear about people cutting down the rainforest, these are the trees that people are looking for. They're looking for mahogany trees. Okay, so it's a very expensive wood, used for veneers, used for plywood, used for musical instruments. So a lovely reddy brown, straight grained wood with no knots in it. So as a quick recap class, we have two types of woods. We have softwoods and hardwoods. Now generally your softwoods grow in colder climates, so they grow like in the Arctic Circle in Canada, North America, Northern Europe. Your hardwoods are more likely to be grown in slightly warmer areas like middle of Europe, middle of North America. So there is a difference between these two materials. Okay. Differences in price. Generally softwoods are cheaper than your hardwoods, and they're easier to get a hold of, and they're more sustainable as well, because we can replant softwoods very quickly because they grow in about 30 years, whereas the hardwoods can grow, it takes about maybe between 100, 150, even 200 and 300 years for these woods to grow, so they're not as sustainable as the softwoods.